it's quite interesting how fast paced the tech environment is too, because the moment you feel like you're comfortable, something new comes out and that makes you feel uncomfortable. And I think that's a good feeling to have,
Yeah.
because I remember at an event I went to, someone said the moment you feel too comfortable, that's a bad sign. You constantly need to feel uncomfortable because that means that, okay, you're growing as a person and you just, work towards what you want to improve.
So welcome everybody to another episode of the Technology Boardroom. I'm here today with what I'm going to call our tech trailblazers to talk about our early careers program here at Advania. So I'll just introduce myself first. I'm Kate Hutchinson. I'm head of dynamics here at Advania, implementing everything D365, Business Central and CRM. And I'm going to hand over now and let the two tech trailblazers introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, I'm Aroosa and I'm part of the Technology Associates at Advania, and I'm in the development team. A little background about myself. I did data analysis in uni, and I worked as a data analyst in healthcare in NHS. And I have done my master's in business analytics, and that's basically it. And I'm here working in the dev team.
Excellent.
Cool. Hi, everyone. So my name is Masuma. I'm in the architecture and security team. So I did cybersecurity at Sunway University in Malaysia. But before that, I stayed in Tanzania and kind of did the IB diploma. So yeah, nice to meet everyone virtually. But yeah.
Excellent. So we're here to talk about the early careers program. And I think it's been around maybe about a year now, I think you've been with us. So you've really experienced what it's like at Advania. And I know we see each other in the Manchester office quite regularly as well, which is really nice. But let's have a bit of an overview of what our careers program has entailed thus far and what were the main objectives for it.
Sure. So the early careers program kind of started as a way to help people break into tech. We have a whole different variety of people. For example, we have some that used to be in the healthcare industry, and then we have someone who did a history degree. And then Aroosa, for example, she did data analysis, but I had more of a straightforward cybersecurity pathway. So the main aim of the whole program was to kind of focus on upskilling people that want to break into tech, and it would be more focused around Microsoft pathways. For example, we all have certain certificates that we have to complete at the end of the 2-year program. So that's a bit about it. But Aroosa, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll add up one big thing. It's just like Masuma said, it was like different people coming together from different various fields and breaking into tech. And with me specifically, it was like I was already working in tech, but in a different field of tech. So I wasn't sure that I would do good as a developer. So it was like finding your strengths and your interests and, gaining experience in that interest area. So I think earlier careers program is a great means to, develop yourself more.
And did you just see the advertisement on our website, or how did you kind of go about wanting to apply?
For me, it was like I just applied it. I don't know, I don't remember now if I applied it on LinkedIn or Indeed, but I applied it and I got into the assessment day we had. And it's really interesting, the assessment day that we had. I really enjoyed the assessment day. It was like a mix of, we were split up into like 2 teams. And there was like the group discussion and also because at Advania in the earlier careers program, we have different solution areas. We had an interview with each heads of solution area, and I had an interview with you as well, Kate.
You did?
Yes, and it was so fun and also exhausting at the same time. But
it was.
yeah.
It was a pretty full on day, I remember. And I was situated in the pods in the Manchester office, wasn't I? And it was kind of one in, have a really good chat with you, get to learn about different people, and then another one in again. And it was really nice to meet everyone. And then you did the group activities as well.
Yes.
Didn't you? I don't know if you did them in the morning or the afternoon, but what did that entail?
So it was like, for me, it was like you guys were assessing all of us based upon our experience, and as well as on like how we will be in a team. And like, because it's like Advania is all about people, and the people, how they are like behave with each other and they be with each other. So I guess like you were assessing us on that as well, on the group thing that we had, like a case study. And it was really interesting on that day. Like it feels like this.
Yeah, and you were all meeting each other. I think, did anyone know each other who was coming to court? Because everyone was meeting each other for the first time as well, weren't they? So, yeah. But Masuma, you had a slightly different path, didn't you, into
Yeah. I
the
mean,
role?
just listening to you guys, I feel a bit left out. But
Oh.
I also applied through LinkedIn, and
Okay.
because back then I was in Tanzania, so I just had a one-on-one interview with my head manager, who is Andrew, and
Yes.
he kind of asked me more technical questions about myself, why why I want the job and so on. So it was very straightforward for me. I just had one interview, and then I got the response a week later, and then a week later had to relocate. So it was very fast-paced, which is a good thing.
Wow.
Because as someone who was job hunting for 9 months, it's easy to kind of uh, I guess almost give up, because you're basically waiting for a response from some companies, but some would kind of ghost me after a while. So it was quite refreshing to hear back from Advania in almost a week, and I was so happy because I remember it was 3 a.m. at night because I'm unemployed. I was just chilling, and I saw the email from them, and I immediately ran up to my mom, and I'm like, "Did you see this?"
Oh,
And she
that's
was half
amazing.
asleep. She was half asleep, and she's like, "Okay, that's good," and went back to sleep. But yeah, it's the good thing about Advania, as Arisa said, it's very people focused. So ever since, I guess, coming into the business, everyone in my team and all of the other TAs and people in different departments, everyone is so welcoming, and that's quite nice, especially as a first time corporate job. It's very You almost get intimidated, but then once you kind of get in the groove of everything, I guess it becomes easier. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And what did you want to come to the UK? Is that what you were looking for, roles around that? So you had to move pretty quickly, you were saying, to
Yeah.
relocate, and then you were straight into the Manchester office meeting your cohort for the first time, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I am a British citizen, so I thought, why not apply for jobs in the UK, because I have kind of been all around for the past few years. So I thought, let me settle down the place I have the citizenship, and then I can kind of build up my portfolio as a person and in the cybersecurity field and so on. So Advania was a good way to introduce me to the whole corporate environment and everything. So it's quite nice, yeah.
What I've really enjoyed, because I said before that I've obviously see the team effectively, or the early years tech associates in the Manchester office quite frequently. And what's really nice is you seem to have all created a good cohort and kind of bit of a bond, because you've all done the same process together. So even though now, and we're going to talk about it a bit later, you've gone off into retrospective different teams within professional services, you're still going to have that kind of closeness in terms of the process that you've been through. And I guess you come to the office a certain amount of days in the week as well. Do you think that's helped?
Yeah, I guess like a hybrid working environment works. Like it helps the interaction between like different tech associates. And also, like, just like you said, we're like a close knit tech associate, and we're like hanging out and chilling and then playing pool as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned.
Have the board games continued though? Because there was like a board games night at one
Yeah,
point
we
you were
have
all
a
into. Have
games
you done that
night.
again? Fair enough.
Yeah, and we go on socials and like we hang out. So it's like we have a good close knit group of like this cohort. So I guess like
Great
it's like
stuff.
team building, internal team building, and it's really nice.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about, obviously we went through the program in terms of the interview process and getting on board. So how did you find it when you first walked into the building and we did that onboarding process? How were the first few months? Because I think that was pretty intense, if I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first week because I was still new to the UK and I hadn't had a place in Manchester, so I was still kind of staying at hotels and stuff. But um, the first day I came in, I was so nervous, and then I thought that it would be a small group of people because I hadn't met the others. But then immediately, I think it was at 9 o'clock or 9:30, I see everyone just walk in, and I was like, whoa, that's a lot of people. um, but it was quite nice because we kind of had almost an ice-breaking session. So we kind of introduced ourselves. I found out basically about what departments everyone else is in, what we're expected to do. And then we had our technology onboarding. So we got our laptops, our monitors, so it was a very smooth process because we kind of got the expectations set for us from the first 2 weeks. So we knew what to work towards as a cohort. And then as 3 months went by, it becomes more clear what you have to do within your department, because then you start to get into meeting more of the people within your department and having one-on-ones with your manager and your mentor. So I'd say it was very smooth for me, but yeah.
Nice.
Just adding on to that, just like Masuma said. So onboarding for me was like, I felt that it was really good that at Advania, they didn't bombarded us with like all the tech stuff that you have to do initially. Like we weren't set off on projects initially. They gave us like that time and space, just to gel in and know about like how the company works, how the internal system works, and how can we like bond as a cohort and bond within our solution area, within our like respective departments, and what actually projects that we have to work on, like the real work that we have to do. So I guess that was really like streamlined in a way. So because we have like career pathways, and we have like certifications that we have to like achieve within some span of time, and also we have like these projects work that we have to do. Like we had mentorship, and I would really like, it was so amazing for me as well. It was so amazing. Like I have so many mentors, and they have like streamlined, I guess, the development section for me as well.
And I think it was based on some soft skills as well. So, some people were coming into probably the world of work for the first time. Some people had different roles as well. But it was also good to kind of maybe learn some of the soft skill type things without going into that tech and really getting together. Like you said before, it gave you that time initially, didn't it?
Yeah. I really enjoyed, we had like some trainers as well to, teach us like how do you communicate with stakeholders, or how do you be in a professional settings. And that they really did us like these activities that they did with us. And we really enjoyed it. I think all of us as a team, that we really enjoyed like those training days that we had, like soft skills that you said.
Yeah.
That it was
we did a London get together as well.
Yes.
I didn't stay for that. I didn't stay for the bowling at the end of it. I had to leave, but that was quite an interesting one for me because it really hit home to me when you had to do presentations, didn't you?
Yes.
For all the heads of department, which must have been pretty scary, I would guess, at the time for everybody. And actually it was, in a good way, really clear about us, trying to get across kind of what our teams were about and kind of how simplified we almost had to make it, because people didn't really know, what the different teams were about. So think about how much knowledge you've probably gained since then, since that London session when you did those presentations, of which were brilliant. It was just like, it really hit home to the heads of department that, you were coming into a tech role effectively, really from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Andrew, my manager, he was so patient with me because I didn't know anything about the professional service side of architecture and security. And he took so much time trying to explain to me in like a detailed explanation of everything. And it was very nerve-wracking, obviously, because you're kind of presenting to head of departments and people you've never met before, because we had a few people from the London office come in and sit in to what we're presenting. But as you go along, and it kind of got very lighthearted because then people were cracking jokes and the presentations had some, jokes on them too. And it got quite easy to talk to everyone else. So that's the fun part of it, because we finally got to integrate with all the other TAs, but then We also got to meet the other head of departments and, Pat Thatcher, who's the head of professional services. So it was very fun. It was a good way to kind of ice break with everyone and meet everyone within the whole PS solution area.
Yeah, amazing. So tell us a little bit about now your kind of day-to-day respective positions, because obviously you're both in different teams now. So you did that togetherness for kind of the first part of the role, and now everybody's split into their relevant professional services teams, which can be quite different in terms of the roles day to day. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that, what your responsibilities are and what you're learning on a day-to-day basis.
I've been really enjoyed being a developer in the development team, and for me, a day in the life of a developer is like on different projects. Because for me, it was like I had mentorship, and I really shout out to Dimitri. He has been a really great mentor to me. He put me on projects and identified my strengths from earlier on, and then I've got to work with different clients. So I had a bit of shadowing, but he gave me that ample space to try on my own. Because as developer, I think the most important skill is like you need to be a problem solver, and you need to have this logical mindset, and also a little bit of analytics and some good Googling skills initially. And then you crack up with the technical knowledge that you have to do, like the programming language that I'm using right now. It's called React. So I've got a hang of it now. But initially, it was like really important for me, just to adapt to like different programming languages or different languages that they use around, or what is exactly the project talking about, like what do I have to do. So I guess like the mentorship that I had at Advania was really good.
And are you involved in lots of different projects now, Rusa?
My work is basically solving problems and fixing bugs, and testing a lot of web parts. And it's like adding features to web parts. So basically, if you see a website and you see those buttons on that, so I actually add those buttons on the website. And just my team is like enable the toggle button or whatever, and then it's like, how do you fix if the button is not working, how do you fix that button? Or it's more like testing, like is everything working on the website working fine? So you test for it, and there's like things like that. So I have to do on a day-to-day basis. So I really find it interesting because I'm building something from scratch, but it's also customizing things. So I really enjoy that. And also it's like it's been like, it's not we do like project works for clients, it's like the internal things that we also do. So for my team, that they have incorporated like team building activities. So we had like and I've showcased my like previous skill set as well. So previously we had this the step or challenge that we had internally, so to keep everyone like on one page so that they move around. So we had some data visualizations, like who is where and like what sort of like step what challenge is or whatever. And also we had this like charity thing that we organized as a part of our team. And I had to make an app, like a countdown app or whatever. So how many days remaining to the hike or whatever. And it was so fun. And I found that really interesting. So my team has been not only involving me in projects, like the client projects that I have like expensed it out as a part of like my team, but also like internal team building activities.
Fabulous, fabulous. And how about you, Masuma? What's your role been like?
Yeah, so just going back to what Aroosa said, she's actually made us, me and Yama, be her guinea pigs for the countdown. So she'll add us to random teams chats, and then she'll test. She'll ask us for feedback. So I think it's really admirable how Aroosa has kind of grown as a developer in such a short time. But my team is, in the first 3 months, I'd say I bothered them a lot. I really, really, like, I would just spam message everyone in my department and ask them, is there anything I can help with? Is there anything I should be learning, And I think that's very important to have, the curiosity.
Sure.
Because if you're in a new environment, or if in a whole new area and you don't know anything, it's really important to go out there and take it on yourself. It's basically your responsibility to upskill yourself. And that's kind of what I did as a new TA in the beginning. And then later on, I started shadowing projects. So my manager and my mentor would put me under certain client work, and then I would kind of see how they do certain configurations and see how they communicate with clients, because you'll find how one client works is completely different from how another client works. And that's still something I'm trying to wrap my head around, because it's a very adaptable and it's a very changing, it's a dynamic environment basically. And at the moment, it's basically been 10 months now, and I'm happy to say that I'm delivering my own client work, and that will probably start in March. And a gist of what I do is I use Microsoft Purview, which is a compliance and security tool. And we basically make sure that people are using the right sensitivity labels and they're not just sharing random information externally that they shouldn't be. So that's kind of a gist of my whole journey so far within this 10 months. And it's been really fun. I'm not going to lie. It's been so fun. And I'm planning on working on a few more certifications. So that means a lot more learning. But I find that you learn better on the job. So, when you see your coworker do certain implementations, then you kind of, it makes more sense the more you see them do that, and the more you see workshops and how they talk to clients and so on. So yeah, it's been a fun learning experience so far.
Amazing. I think it's really amazing to hear how far you've both kind of come in terms of being able to deliver client work,
Yeah.
already, and know that that's going to increase as you go over the next few weeks and months is really amazing from, just starting out. And like I said, when we were talking about the London presentations, not really knowing what each team really did at that point. It's amazing how far you've come in that. And another thing that hit home to me when you were saying that is that in Advania, in professional services, in all the different teams across professional services, every day is different. And I think you're probably seeing that variety, which is quite nice to kind of get into. I mean, I definitely am attracted to my role, and I've always wanted to continue in it because every day is different and you're constantly learning. The clients are all different. The ask is generally different, and you're able to just keep learning because technology changes all of the time as well. So you'll that improvement in terms of knowledge and learning will just continue.
Exactly. And I think the fun part is that tech is ever changing. So for example, right now it's AI coming in, and you'll hear almost everywhere, wherever you go. Even you'll go on TikTok, you'll go on Twitter, even LinkedIn, everyone's posting something or the other about AI. And I'm not gonna lie, it's so convenient. For example, Aroosa said Googling. She uses Google for everything. I use Copilot for everything. So it's quite interesting how fast paced the tech environment is too, because the moment you feel like you're comfortable, it makes you feel something new comes out, and that makes you feel uncomfortable. And I think that's a good feeling to have, because I remember someone at an event I went to, someone said the moment you feel too comfortable, that's a bad sign. Because
someone's actually said that to me today.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a weird coincidence, but
yeah, it is, but it's true.
Yeah, exactly. So you constantly need to feel uncomfortable, because that means that okay, you're growing as a person, and you just work towards what you want to improve.
I
think that's what I feel every day, because whenever I do bug fixes and these errors, I'm like, why I'm not able to figure it out. And when I figure it out, I'm like, bingo, I did this.
Yay! That's brilliant. I guess as well, you've obviously we talked about the cohort earlier, and you've been in, that team, and effectively because you are now starting to do work in your prospective teams, do you feel that you're kind of edging out of the cohort? You'll always be the cohort, but you're gaining another team effectively as well. How has that transition been? And I guess that's ongoing.
Yeah, I guess because we gel in together, I think very smoothly. all of us as TAs. So I don't think that we feel apart from each other. So because we have the same like trajectory from the beginning, and we are into like different teams. So we add upon like I know what Masuma does, or I know what like other TAs does. So I'm interested in knowing like what other areas of solution areas, how do we work as professional services like together. So it's like if I am customizing a product and some other team is actually delivering a product to a client, it's like a whole package, a holistic view.
Yeah.
So I guess that has built upon being a cohort. So I
Yeah.
get a more like a big picture rather than like working. I don't know about anyone else, because like working together, I think I know more about like what each team does. Just like your
Amazing. Yeah. That's
yeah,
nice.
True.
sorry,
Yeah,
just
that's
like your
great.
team as well. So it's like I know what Susan does, and
Yeah.
and I know what clients she's been working on. So I was like, I'm curious about like breaks and stuff like that, and she's like explaining it to me. So
Yeah.
I find this interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I
Yeah.
think
Sorry, go on.
I was only going to say that I think it's actually really good that you're close in the sense of you do know quite a bit around the different professional services teams. And actually, we work together on different projects. There will be client overlap at times as well, which again, if you've got an in with each other around that can only be a good thing moving forward.
Yeah. And the other thing is, because we come into office three times a week, we kind of meet other people in from different departments. For example, I know Kanti from your department, Kate. He's an amazing person, and he constantly gives advice before. For example, he saw me nervous before a client call, and he kind of gave me a pep talk to get me going, and I was so happy. So the thing is that as a cohort, as the TAs, it will be something that we will kind of be known as because we are the first cohort. And we do have, I think, Aroosa, is it bi-weekly? I mean, sorry, bi-monthly, when we have a whole TA meeting together. Yeah, so we have a whole feedback session with each other, and it kind of gets the conversation rolling. And we also see each other every so often. But slowly, I think I'm already noticing it as we kind of go more into our own client work. We're more focused on that as compared to sticking together as a cohort, which is not necessarily bad. It's considered growth in a way. So yeah, for example, in my case, I am more aligned with my architecture and security team, and for example TE, because we work more with those departments. So that's basically how it works for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like because Masuma said like we work with our respective departments, and it's not a bad thing at all. But I think it's also added like for me, I'm better able to explain what I do at like what I do in work and what my team does to others, so that they know about like what my team is all about. So just as we have like the South African cohort coming up, we have to actually make them understand what each of the respective team does. So I think it's more easier for us now to make them understand like what everyone does and what like how it's placed within the professional services.
Yeah, amazing. So it all sounds really successful, and it's again, lovely to see everybody in the office when I do see them all working on various, client work now, which is amazing. So how would you what would you say to other people wanting to start a career in tech? And three women on a call as well. We can also ignore the fact that, we want to get more women in tech too. So what would you say to people wanting to start a career in tech, maybe in this way?
So I went into tech with a more focused mindset. So my advice would probably be different compared to Arusa's. But in my case, I'd say kind of figure out what particular tech field you want to go into, because tech as a whole is very broad. So for example, there's AI now, there is, I'd say, business analysis, there's cybersecurity. So kind of pinpoint what piques your interest and then try and build on to that particular knowledge area. For example, for me, I figured out that I wanted to do security back in high school, and that was literally a month before my graduation, which is not something ideal, but it was a process where I wasn't exposed to cybersecurity as a whole, because especially as a woman, you're usually told to go into more medical field or more business, So for me, tech as a whole was not something I was introduced to, and it was only something I found out about because my brother went into cybersecurity himself, and I was like, whoa, this is a very interesting topic. So I applied, got into university for cybersecurity, and since then it's kind of continuous learning. It never stops, and that's something that makes it very interesting for me, because every day is almost a new problem, and slowly I kind of hope that if there was a way to do it differently, I would try and advise people from a younger age, explore all the avenues, don't just go for what people around you say you should do. And that's something I don't necessarily regret, but it's something that you can definitely grow from.
I think as well, I've been at a few school careers kind of fairs recently, and again, you speak to people, men and women, talking about the different roles that they think they're going to go into, and actually talking about tech opens their eyes to other possibilities as well, which is great. But not. I think in tech, definitely I didn't know. I trained as an accountant and didn't know that I would end up in a tech role, but, applied and didn't really know about it either. So it's definitely been a great career for me.
And for me as well, because I come from a very different background in tech. So, and I've like switched to a different like tech background. So for me, it's like, to women, especially, I would give this advice that don't restrict yourself to like one field. Your skills are transferable. It's not like you can't do coding, because everyone is so, afraid of coding. So you're going to do coding. It's like, it's nothing like that. It's like dissecting a bigger problem into like smaller chunks and working on those smaller chunks. So you don't have to be, you're afraid about like what would you do in coding. So that's what I would advise people. So don't be afraid of coding, because girls can do that.
Yeah, we can. We can. Amazing. Well, that's been absolutely brilliant to chat to you today about the early years program. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again next time on the Technology Boardroom.